welcome to REI Investor Talk, where we unpack the ideas, the insights, and innovations shaping property and investment in South Africa. And today we're diving into PropTech with a founder who's not afraid to talk about the hard truths of building a startup in South Africa. My guest is Wesley Roos. He's a tech founder, problem solver, growth specialist, and the creator of Properly. It's a platform that makes property data accessible to everyone, not just banks or agents. And from failed startups to pivoting models to toe-to-toe with agents and investor, and a number of them, Wesley has walked the tough road of building a PropTech business in South Africa. And he's here to share what no one tells you about. So Wesley, great to have you with us. Good chatting again.
How's it, Neil? Yeah, thanks very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure. So let's start from the beginning. I mean, you were investing in property yourself when Properly was born out of frustration. Can you maybe take us back to that moment when a pain point became a product idea?
Yeah, perfect. So this was probably in 2022 now, and a friend of mine and myself wanted to start a small property portfolio, and we wanted to have our cake and eat it, as in we didn't want to put money, we didn't want to put deposits into the properties, and we wanted to be cash flow positive from day one. And so the obvious way to do that was through Airbnb investment properties. But it turns out that's really hard to do. And the way that you have to get that right is through really solid financial analysis and just through understanding the right numbers and making sure you've got all the numbers, got all the data, that you're not missing anything. And just in my journey of trying to get all the different numbers from real estate agents, from Airbnb management companies, from the developer of the building, as it was a new development, we just really struggled to get all the data in one place. And that's when I started turning my pain point into a solution. And back then it was actually just a spreadsheet. That's where it all started.
Okay, so did you ever think that this would grow into a platform used by others? Or was it just a personal solution at first?
It was really just a personal solution at first, but the more and more people, so we went ahead and bought the properties. They were cash flow positive from day one, and I then had more and more people coming to me and asking me, well, friends and friends of family, or friends of friends, family, they would come to me and ask me for this. And so I think after about the fifth or sixth person asking me, I was like, you know what, I think there's an idea here. And that's when I formalized the business.
Fantastic. So, you said also some of your previous businesses have failed. And what did those failures teach you that helped you approach Properly differently today?
I think number one is probably just validation. Get market validation before jumping the gun, before going to build something that you think someone else, a whole lot of people might want. Make sure those people actually want it. And so, there's a few lessons I could probably go into, but the number one thing is probably just making sure that you're building something that people genuinely want.
Okay. Was there one specific failure that gave you the most valuable lesson?
Sure, a slew of failures. I wouldn't say one in particular, but just many. I've been building tech startups now for about a decade. Started back in 2015, and so just in the last 10 years, I've learned a huge amount about what not to do.
Okay, good. So how do you think about failure now? Is it part of the process, or something you actively try to avoid, or?
I think it's definitely part of the process, but hopefully that ratio, it just becomes less part of the process as you get more and more experienced. But certainly, failure isn't really fail if you've learned from it. So in the tech startup world, we just call that pivoting. Actually, we just call that Tuesday.
Okay, great. So in South Africa, we've seen that reliable data isn't easy to access. Why is it so fragmented, and how is Properly solving that problem in a unique way?
I'm not 100% sure why it's so fragmented. I think it's got a number of got to do with a number of combinations, and it's quite nuanced. The South African property market is our ecosystem is quite an interesting market. Um, between all the different dynamics between agents and your sort of bigger portal players, your behind the scenes data players. It's just a very complicated market, and not to mention it's quite a small market compared to the rest of the world. Um, so it's just been it's for whatever reason it is, for whatever number of reasons it is fragmented. But the way that we are trying to solve that is really through pulling all of those different data points and different data sets and places where different data points that you would need to be making these decisions into one centralized, easy to use platform. Typically, the agents tend to have access to some of this data, not all of it, some of it, but they keep it quite close to their chest because it's the leverage. It's their leverage in these deals. It's how they are able to get certain deals over the line. Whereas how property is sort of changing this, and I guess rocking the boat a bit, is by making the same data, if not more, and better quality data available to the general public for as cheap as 89 Rand for a report. So that's kind of how that's how we're planning on doing it.
Okay, great. So, I mean, Properly started as a consulting service and later became a tech platform. What triggered that pivot, and how did it change your growth path?
Scalability is the short answer. It wasn't scalable. So we started initially as a buyer's agency, really, or call it how you get like a financial advisor. We were like a property investment advisor, but on the buyer's side. And as I mentioned, I had a lot of friends and family reaching out to me asking for assistance. But it just wasn't scalable. We could only ever manage 5, maybe at a push 10 clients at any given time. And so without the tech side of it, and just the automated side of it, we could never get really past that. Even if we grew our team, it's still not scalable. So we decided to switch that all off, and basically then focus for about 6 months. We just focused on building out our tech, and then we turned it back on 6 months later, and this is now where we are now.
Okay, great. So, I mean, did moving from service to software bring new challenges, like development costs, funding, user adoption?
Absolutely, yeah. It definitely went from hard to harder. But I think with where we are in today's day and age, specifically with AI and with just the tools that we have available to us, it is amazing how far you can actually get. So we did need to raise a bit of funding. We actually just raised another round now about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And we've had to get developers in. We've had to do sort of some quite complicated partnerships with data providers, such as Deeds Office and those sort of data providers. But yeah, it's certainly a whole lot harder. But you can obviously service a lot more people and solve a much bigger problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've ruffled a few feathers with agents, I'm sure, who weren't too keen on transparent data. I mean, how have you dealt with that kind of pushback, and what has made top-performing agents actually adopt your deal score tool?
So I think I mentioned earlier, like the agents like to have access to this data because it gives them the leverage in the deal. And yeah, we've certainly had a lot of pushback from the agencies. We actually built an agents specific product, which in demo, it's interesting. In demos, it has a lot of positive feedback, a lot of positive input, or it has the complete opposite. It's like, no, this is never going to work. We don't want this. We don't want to go near it. AI can't do what we do. And my answer is like, well, it's going to do what you do. You can, it just depends when. Um, but basically, the agents that are adopting this, we find are sort of your agents that are closing the highest number of deals. So it's not necessarily like your top performing agents in terms of uh, like rand volume or like rand amounts, but in terms of like closing deals, highest case count. Um, those are the agents we find that are benefiting the most from a tool like this, because it's not about driving the cost high and therefore a higher commission. It's about closing the deal quicker. And what these tools are doing, what this product is doing, is it's helping that buyer make the decision because they've got the confidence. They believe that they have all the data, and they're more happy to make a decision rather than and eyeing without data or with a lack of trust.
Okay, excellent. So let's talk a little bit about your solo founder experience. Building a startup alone, that can be brutal. You've got to make probably 100 decisions plus a day, and no one to share the load with. How have you managed the mental, emotional, and business pressures of being a solo founder?
Sure. Yeah. I would say just balance, to be honest, like trying to just keep balance throughout the other parts of my life. Things like, just keeping fit, keeping active, trying to get out as much as I can into like nature on the weekends, when I'm not working. But yeah, I think just having a good head on your head, a good head on your shoulders. And, but yeah, as you said, it is solo founder is a very difficult journey. I would say the number one issue is probably, or the number one problem that I've faced with that is just it's the loneliness of being a solo founder, that you just don't have anyone to bounce those ideas off. And I've gone, Property's gone solo founder, bootstrap or almost bootstrapped, PropTech, B2C, South Africa. Any one of those five are hard on their own, but now when you combine all five together, it's monumental.
Absolutely. Do you have any mentors or advisors who are helping you to fill that capital?
I do. I do have a few. I've got a small advisory board from sort of key players in the industry from the property portal side, as well as one or two VCs and friends that I'm just able to become friends, and I'm just able to tap into them. So yes, I've got an amazing advisor and sort of mentor network, and then I've actually formalized that in an advisory board as well.
Okay, great. So you've also shared stories about venture capital rejections, running low on cash, still pushing forward. What's kept you going in those moments, and how do you think about funding and sustainability now in those tough times?
Well, it's funny. Unofficially, I would say that Properly's number one motto or slogan is whatever you do, don't die. And I think that should be the mantra for any early stage tech startup around the world, is whatever you do, don't die just long enough to figure it out. And so I think, the way I've kind of managed that is just I've tried to be as lean as possible. I've kept burn rates as low as possible. Haven't done any frivolous spending. I think, and I think probably the biggest thing that keeps me going in all of that is just purpose. It's knowing that I'm solving a problem at scale, which is ultimately what intrinsically drives me.
Fantastic.
It's amazing what you can go through when you know why you're doing it.
Excellent. Your deal score tool, it just costs 89 Rand, but it can save buyers hundreds of thousands. What surprised you most about how everyday buyers and investors are actually using it?
So I would say one of the biggest surprises or biggest learnings I think from this has been the actual experience of it. Okay, if you just take the data aside, the data is super valuable. But and sure, going in with the right offer, knowing that that the surrounding 5 properties in the area have sold for, 10 to 15,000 Rand lower on a price per square meter basis is super valuable information. It helps you make an offer at a couple R100,000 lower than what they're asking, and potentially get the deal. And so that's a no-brainer. Like, you have to have the good data. But the biggest surprise to me, I would say, is actually being the experience of generating these reports, and then the experience of using this product has been so good from a user's perspective. The feedback we've gotten has been so good that even in some of the edge cases where our data has been wrong, and I'll admit that our data has been wrong in times, and the way we interpret some of the data is not always correct. So it's given the wrong valuations on properties before. That aside, users have come back and said, look, the data was off, but I loved the experience. And so the biggest learning is just being that good user experience buys you a lot of loyalty when it comes to users. If they believe that you're there in their corner and you can build, you can get their trust, it buys you a lot of sort of runway when it comes to this type of thing.
No, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned validation earlier on as well, but have you had any feedback stories? I mean, like where buyer avoided overpaying thanks to deal score?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've got a user down the road here. I mean, we Cape Town based, but someone down here in St. Martini Gardens, they were going to make an offer at 1.35. They used our product. They went in at 115 and the offer got accepted immediately. The property was listed at 135. He was going to go in at 1.3. He said, no, let me buy a report. And so that 89 Rand ended up saving him 150,000 Rand.
Awesome.
And we've had a number of other we put them all over our website, but WhatsApps and emails and things just saying, love the product, great experience, game changing industry. Quite fun.
Massive saving. And massive saving for him.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for an investor, that's what they're looking for. So well done. That's great. So let's looking at the big picture. How do you see PropTech evolving in South Africa? I mean, are we playing catch up with global trends? Are there unique opportunities here that others don't see? I mean, I've certainly seen far more adoption towards PropTech, more so this year than I've seen before. I don't know if you're seeing the same thing.
Definitely. And even the fact that, guys like Redimension Capital, the sort of PropTech dedicated VC fund in South Africa, just closed sort of an addition to their fund. Even that is showing that there's an increasing appetite for PropTech in South Africa. That said, I do think we are playing catch up, and I do think we are behind the rest of the developed world. And if you look at the UK and the US ecosystems, I think we are definitely playing catch up. But it's looking promising. And I mean, just this year, I've seen probably another 5 or 6 PropTech startups popped up, sort of out of the blue that's are doing amazing things. From Find Homes, which is that AI property home search, to Real TPA, which is an agent CRM that's sort of making waves in the industry. There's a few really cool ones that are coming out. So it's looking promising, and I would sum that up in saying I'm sort of cautiously optimistic for where it's going.
Fantastic. So looking ahead, and I mean, lastly, I mean, what is next for Proply? I mean, what's your vision for how property decisions will be made in South Africa, say 5 years from now? And given that you will succeed.
Well, thank you for that. Hopefully Proply and Deal Score are a bit of a household name by then. But I guess what's next for Proply is we've got our sort of defined product verticals, being sort of consumer-facing or buyer-facing property data in the form of these reports that you can buy. We've got the agents vertical, and we're busy building out these tools for agents. And then we've got an insurance risk assessment tool or vertical that we're building out on that side. So I think what would be a great 5-year achievement for Proply is if we are established in all three of those verticals and just have become a bit of a household name in the industry. Hopefully solving a lot of people's data problems at scale.
Wonderful. Wesley, thank you very much for sharing your journey. I think that was real inspiring. And it's clear that Properly is not just about data, it's about leveling the playing field for buyers and investors. I think in a market where emotion and opacity often cost people dearly. I've seen that. And for our viewers, if you're serious about property investing, don't buy blind. Check out Properly's Deal Score and experience what smarter decision making looks like. I'm Neil Peterson alongside Wesley Roos, who's founder of Properly, and this has been the REI Investor Talk Show. Until next time, invest smartly with clarity and confidence. Thanks once again, Wesley.
Thanks, Neil. Great speaking.